Hey guys, yeah, I don't like Voyager. Let's get it straight out of the way. You know, I've watched it, I've seen every single episode apart from the last one. Don't ask me why, somehow I've never seen the final episode of Voyager. I just stopped giving a shit by that point. Um, yeah, and so here I'm going to explain calmly what's wrong with Voyager, while someone texts me to tell me what's great with Voyager. So if you're watching this, Matt, hello. Yeah, okay. It isn't bad. It's just I'm a niner. Okay, I will fully admit I love DS9, and everything that I love about Deep Space Nine, Voyager is like the complete antithesis of it. I mean, clearly, you know, you've got static show that doesn't necessarily go anywhere in distance versus lost starship trying to get home, and you know, you've got a show with more supporting characters and recurring regular roles versus the same 7 people, occasionally with an extra who appears in 2 or 3 episodes then vanishes for like 3 series to be brought back in the second to last episode and killed. So yes, hello Lieutenant Carey. You probably get the fucking kids. Oh god, anyway, I'll get on to that. You know something's gone wrong when they've started adding kids to TV shows. At least they had the good sense to keep Jake Sisko out of most of Deep Space Nine, presumably because he was in school, or because they couldn't work out how they could get like a 15-year-old civilian onto a battleship in the middle of a war without going, meanwhile, back on the station, Jake Sisko is in school. Although they did do a few episodes like that. Okay, I'm getting off the point. Voyager. Ooh, this could go on for a while. Okay, Voyager. Nice looking ship. Nice sounding theme tune. Great opening credits. Awful cast. No, actually the cast were alright. Awful cast of characters. Janeway, who isn't the most successful of captains, let's face it. I mean, I'm not saying that Picard or Sisko would have done any better given the situation, but she made some interesting choices, and her voice was annoying as shit, and her hair was just I know I'm getting picky if I'm starting complaining about her hair. She yeah, I don't know if she had some kind of crush on B'Elanna Torres, but every time it's like in the first series, like one of these two has to be the new chief engineer. Is it the guy who's, you know, good, or is it the former Marquis member who is better but a bitch? I'll have the bitch, and then we'll get rid of the other guy in the next episode. Yeah, and B'Elanna Torres, that old kind of I'm half human, half alien. Oh, my two sides are fighting again. It's like, for fuck's sake, we've done that already. Okay, it's been done. Spock did it fine. We do not need half human, half alien character who can't decide between being their human half and their alien half, and it's a Klingon, so we've already got Worf for all the Klingon stuff. We don't need B'Elanna Torres. Okay, simple as that. She could have been something else. She could have been anything else. She could have made up new fucking alien. Bring back those ones with the kind of fish things and the breather masks. They were great. They only ever used them twice. At least it looked different. It wasn't the same slightly ridged nose, pointy ear thing that Star Trek always does. Chakotay, the second most pointless character on the show, who was there presumably as kind of action Riker guy, but didn't do anything, and obviously the actor who played him hated playing him, and it shows. He clearly doesn't give a shit. He doesn't seem to try to act, and then obviously because he was bitching and moaning all the time, they started giving him more stories which he didn't need. And then pointless romance with 7 of 9, and then 7 of 9, yeah, because they had Kez, who, I will admit, Kez was a brilliant character. I really liked Kez. I mean, she had character development built into her. You know, she separated from the caretaker, she had the growing mind powers and stuff, and apparently the species only lived for like 7 and 9 years or something. So that could have been great. I don't know whether I can't remember if the actress got bored or if they just decided to write her out. But the one character who was going somewhere, who was interesting, who was fun, left, and they thought, right, well, we need a sexy female character. Oh, look, it's the Borg. Fuck's sake. Come up with something new, please. DS9 never had the Borg, well, apart from the first episode, and that was mostly just to go, hey, do you remember the Borg? They were cool. Look, Deep Space Nine. Watch Deep Space Nine. Look, Deep Space Nine is there. Oh wait, before I go too far and you're all bitching, yes, I will admit the first two series of Deep Space Nine were dull. There was a couple of good episodes, but mostly the first two series, shit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however, awesome. Actually, 5 was but 3, 4, 6, and 7 were awesome. Anyway, yeah, so bring in 7 of 9, and it's the same thing. It's the I'm going to run around looking sexy whilst learning how to become a human and discover who I am. It's like, oh, fucking hell. Do I need this again? It's Data, but sexy and married to one of the writers, so he presumably went, 7 of 9 does something. And then the rest of the cast tag along. Episode 2. 7 of 9 bends over in a bikini. The rest of the cast are there as well. So, yeah. Who else we got? Tom Paris, who, if they could have done what they intended to do and actually have him as his character, shit, what was the actor called? Robert Duncan Neil, Robert, oh god, like 3 names. Shit, it's been a long time since I've watched it. Anyway, him. You know who I mean. He played Nick Locano in the TNG episode. If they could have had him as they intended to do in Voyager, it'd have been fine. But instead they go, well, we can't because we don't want to pay royalties to the guy who created the character. Let's have the same character with a different name, with the same actor. Again, you know, it could have been interesting. He kind of was. He was, you know, cocky and a bit of a dick. The problem was he was too much of a dick. He went from cocky dickhead to dickhead with no cock. Yeah, and then obviously he had his friendship with the single most pointless character in the history of Star Trek, and that's including Voyager and that's including Enterprise and all its pointless characters. What was the point of Harry Kim? Will someone please answer me this? I know he was there to kind of push the buttons and look, well, not pretty, but you know, that's all he did on 7 years of Voyager, going from one side of the galaxy to the other, and all the people he saved and all the things he did. He never got fucking promoted. Are you kidding? How shit must he have been? And did he not hand in his paperwork at the end of the day? How the fuck did he not get promoted from ensign? And then it's like, oh, and here's Harry Kim falls in love with an alien episode. Great, skipping this one. Oh, he was shit. The most pointless character. He was just there to look hopeless and kind of suck up to Janeway whilst being the foil to Tom Paris, and that was his only role, and he did that for 7 years, and he is fucking shit. Sorry, but Harry Kim, no. Right then, so who does that leave us with? Oh, Tuvok. Kind of okay. It was interesting to go back to having a Vulcan on the show and learning more about the Vulcans, and he was okay, and that was about as good as I can get. He was obviously, because they were playing him in a completely Klingon, full Vulcan, deadpan. Yeah, he's completely. Yeah, he was just. He was there, but he was dull because he had to be dull. It's like, I am going to look at this now, and that is interesting, and I am blah 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 blah, and now I'm in Pomfar, and then I'm okay now. Well, that was fun. Thanks, Chakotay. Thanks, Tuvok. See you in 7 years. So yeah. Anyway, so he was okay. That leaves us, if I'm right, with Neelix, who I think even most Voyager fans dislike. I mean, he was irritating. He was designed to be irritating. He did irritating well. But it was like, hey, Quark works on Deep Space Nine, let's have one on Voyager. We don't need one on Voyager. We really don't need one on Voyager. I mean, you know, comedy like relief. And when he was with Kez, he had a point. As soon as Kez left, it was kind of, why are you still here? Really, why? It just, I mean, you're out of where, you were like useful local knowledge guy in the first couple of series when they were flying around the Kazon Nistrum for like, well, for 2 series. I mean, are you going around in circles? Seriously, just pick a direction and go. Kazon space can't be that bloody big. And the Kazon were just Klingons with worse haircuts. Literally, that was it. That was their one thing. No wonder they were pissed off all the time. They had ridiculous hairdos. So yeah, but once they left his local space, he shouldn't have known anything to be any help as a guide. So what the fuck was his point apart from cooking for Janeway? And then finally the Doctor, who obviously was Data. So that's the Doctor completed. I'm going to become human and more than my programming. Okay, thank you, Mr. Data. That's great. How about something original? You want to be human? That's original. Okay, thanks for that. I mean, brilliant. I love Robert Picardo. He's a great actor. If it pops up in any B movies, he's always funny. And it was an interesting character, and I did sort of like him, but he was there for the same reason that Data was there in TNG, which is I don't know how to handle emotions or interact with human beings. I am the audience surrogate. And it's just like, yeah, thanks for reminding us that we're friendless losers who don't know how to interact with people. And that's what I get out of it anyway. So yeah, and then it got to the point where it's like, oh, by the way, I can sing. So it's like, oh, let's write in an episode that Doctor learns to sing. And then, oh, I can act. Okay, the Doctor learns to act. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. You're the Brent Spiner of this show. You're the cast show-off. You know how to do these things. You can do accents and shit. Let's write in. Data plays 8 different characters, all with different voices. Fuck's sake. And then we get the supporting cast, which consists of people who turn up for like 2 episodes and die. Because they were there to remind us that there's... I mean, they literally could not have any more cast. They had a finite number of cast. Like they supposedly had a finite number of torpedoes, even though it kind of went up and down. And that was a perfect chance to have a supporting cast. But apart from like Naomi Wildman and one of the parts of the supporting engineering guys, that was it. They'd pop in, we wouldn't see them for a year, they'd pop in for another episode, then they'd die. And it's like, oh. And every time they introduced somebody cool or interesting, you knew they were going to kill them off at the end of the episode, because that's what they were there for. So it's just... what was the point? And then you had DS9, who didn't go anywhere, and every action they made had a consequence. If Cisco pissed off one of the local groups, you knew damn well in a few episodes' time they were going to come back and blow the shit out of them, and they did repeatedly. And the last episode, the supporting cast list was probably longer than the main cast list. You had Brunt and Wayoon and God, who else? Nog and Kai Wynn and Gulder Kat and Lamar and Garak, who is the single most awesome supporting character ever, especially given the fact that he was being played gay, which is an entirely different discussion that we shall have another time. But yes, Voyager sucks, DS9 was great, get over it.